It is awesome to be here. So let's get started. What if you could create income you'll never outlive? Well, it is possible. And I'm so excited to be here with everybody. I've consolidated, now it's 33 plus years, right, into everything, have all about how to manage wealth. We're all busy making money, and we need to take a moment out to learn how to protect our assets. Now, what's your current financial fitness? I like to take a moment out. Just like you need a map, what is the map? A goal, a journey, what's your current financial status, how much money do you need, and how much do you need so you never outlive your money? What I do is financial fitness strategies. I talk about the age, the health, your wealth, and how does it fit into everything that's going on. According to Forbes, even the richest people, they budget, they plan, and they stick to budgets, and they live on less than they make, believe it or not. The 1% don't guess when it comes to their finances, and there's 7 things that they consistently do. They manage their wealth, they have a solid plan, they plan for emergencies and the unexpected, and they're setting goals. It's a constant revisiting because there's so many things that are happening. We need to be prepared for what I call life after work. It's not retirement. It is a life after work where we can take our legacy and give back. And of course, we want to minimize the taxes and maximize the income. So you want to document where you're at and save consistently every month. Make sure your emergency fund is 3 to 6 months. Lately, I've been saying 1 to 2 years. The way that things could go, it's very volatile, and it's always nice to have a little extra. Saving 50% less than your monthly income on essentials. Spend 30% less on your wants, like entertainment. And so there's a review, and there's a looking at all of the things like your debts and your mortgage and the credit cards. So this is a nice, spend no more than 50% on essentials and no more than 30% on wants. But the remaining 20% should be used for creating an emergency fund and savings and debt repayment. Now, Michael Jordan, it seems like a little basic concept, but the fundamentals of creating wealth. But probably the most successful basketball player of all time spent hours every day doing the same thing on the fundamentals, doing a little bit every day on it. It works the same for money too. So, are you on track? If you are all set, congratulations. If you want to go back to, go back to the park or go on vacation. But most people are not, 60% right now in this country are living paycheck to paycheck. I'm including people that make up to $100,000. Paycheck, 60%. So you don't have to feel bad if it's not as lucrative as you thought it would be. The change is not easy, but it's satisfying and powerful. So if you're not where you want to be, but you're unwilling to change, then none of it really matters. And if nothing changes, it's not going to change. So you want to create income you'll never outlive, and you'll have to make some changes that aren't hard, but they do require a commitment. Now, as Colleen introduced me so kindly, I'm Chris Miller, and I have been in practice for 33 plus years. It goes by so fast. I'm a legacy wealth strategist, and put more simply, I'm a safe money expert. My career is built on helping others build a solid foundation and protect so they can live their dreams. A big part of my foundation is living trust, and we'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But we've all heard about the nightmares and the challenges of estate planning. I literally have created over 6,000 living trusts. Thank God I've never had a problem. They work just fine. But as a result of this, I found that when 3 decades, wasn't that I was so smart, I saw a pattern. People were coming into my office starting their retirement plan at 50, 60, 70. It's like, what's wrong here? Oh, you go to school, you learn how to make money, you get out of school, what do? Go make money and give it to somebody else to gamble. And the only modality that most people know is risk planning. So it's like a roulette wheel. Will it be up or down when you retire? And I saw my first decade was great. People were living off the interest off their bank, and after that, it was a nightmare in the crash at the end of the 90s and 2000. People lost 40 to 60% of their estate. And this is what woke me up to the 3 secrets of what people miss. And I don't care how great their estate is. And, we got to shift, we got to change, but we have to take time to learn these things because we weren't taught. So that's why my financial literacy is a big thing. It doesn't happen overnight. And I spend a lot of time teaching people about all that I'm talking about, so you're empowered. That's one thing that I really want to see is people being empowered. Because when people would come in my office, they say, "Where's your IRA?" And like, "Oh, it's at, so-and-so company." But they wouldn't know where it is. Well, it's an IRA. Well, where is it invested, right? So most people really don't understand their money. And you want to get your financial house in order when you have a why, like your family or your purpose. That gives you the inspiration, right? Most people, like we're talking about, this inspiration is going to make you know your why and be able for you to master these things so you do not have to worry. And thank God I don't have to worry. I literally have been blessed to be able to have income I'll never outlive. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just went for it. I did not want to lose money. And so I took time out to learn about these strategies that aren't common. It wasn't like I could look at you and say, "Oh, you need to buy this stock," but I don't want it. I couldn't do that. So I own what I sell, and I've owned it for 3 decades. And my blessing is I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not a lawyer. And I'm not looking at the latest, hottest investment. I'm all about safe and secure money. That really is my theme. And because if we can't make your money safe and you can't live out your dreams without worrying about paying the bills and protecting your money, I mean, what's it all for? So I have never lost one dime of my clients' money, and I'm pretty proud of it. And so you can watch, most people are kind of awake at night. Everything's a little volatile, wars and rumors of wars, and how are all these things going to affect you? The losses, taxes, inflation. I mean, go to the grocery store, right? It's crazy. And people are losing sleep behind this. And then where do you go to get information? I mean, you look at what's on all these different networks. They all have different purposes and politics. I mean, one person says we're in a recession. Some people say it might be a recession. Everybody's got a different angle on it. So you really have to take time yourself and become your own bank, become your own government and Social Security and learn about it. Because it is a jungle out there and there are a lot of hidden dangers. And I know it looks really pretty, but there are these monsters out there, and just out of sight, there's risk. Things that you don't know about. Is your lifestyle at risk? Are your assets at risk? I call these hidden dangers of risk. And they could snap up money like crazy. Losses, taxes, fees, and the unexpected. You know, they're there, and there are all kinds of manners of dangers that you just don't know about until it's too late. Like, it's too good to be true, right? The oleander looks so pretty and everything, but it don't eat it. It's just terminal, right? It will kill you. Looks pretty, seemingly a little threat. This little guy kills more people, right? It can cost you deathly damage. So little things, big things, you've got to be aware, because we're in a financial jungle and there are poachers with guns, right? And they're after all of these different things. I mean, you can read the slide, pandemics and upheavals and wars, but just out of sight, your river of income and wealth flows freely. These things to be, they appear to be going well in spite of what's going on. Literally, I made money during the last 2008. It's hard to believe I didn't lose a dime, and I actually made money with no sweat, no worry. So everything is growing and doing better and better. But the poachers show up and they all want their share. And they're counting on you not reading the fine print. So you can protect yourself and your money. Are your assets bulletproof? So this is a big thing. You want to protect it from the poachers and other risks. And the 4 bullets you want to protect yourself from are the volatility of the stock market, taxes, inflation, exorbitant costs of long-term care, and catastrophic illness. Most people do not even think about it. Missing legal protections, right? And hopefully you can get all those sorted out and be good to go and not have any problems. Oh, there's an elephant in the room. It's called the paradox of longevity. Because guess what? We are living longer than before. And you know what? With all this AI and things, they expect people to live 100, 120. I plan for 120. I literally do that. I think it helps my mindset when I plan for longer than what they say the life expectancy is. It does something for me. And, you want to make sure that you're looking at the long haul and possibilities of new breakthroughs in health. So plan for longevity, because in the next few years, everything can change. So will you thrive? Will you be a burden? What if you live to 100 or 120? What will you do to make sure that your family is protected? Protect the lifestyle and protect your money and your assets. So if you can't do $1,000 a month, say, to start saving, right? You don't want to pass go without saving something. You got to start somewhere. And, I have lots of charts about showing how much just little savings can do every month. And you got to start with it. It shocks me. I mean, I had a $44 million real estate person. He had $44 million in real estate and no living trust. And no really big money either. It was all in real estate. People know what they know, but they don't know what they don't know. So as you increase your monthly savings, you just start to save every month. That's a good start, because the debt is crazy. And I think this number is way low. I looked at another stat. It was like 90 to 120,000 is an average debt. So if you can't pay for it every month, get out of the credit card, because you're just wasting money with all of that interest that you have to pay, and pay it off. But master the basics and practice them every day. If you master the basics, the fundamentals, then you can create income you'll never outlive, even if you live to 120. I assure you, you can. But to do that, you must build your financial plan and put it on solid ground. Don't forget all the risks along the way. You'll come face to face with some of these alligators, like we're trying to swim across the other side of the swimming pool, but there's these alligators there trying to get us, right? Wall Street, the stock market, casino, being safe, never losing a dollar. So you want to get your financial house in order. Warren Buffett, probably one of the most successful investors, invests for the long haul and follows the fundamentals. I don't think you could classify any of his investments is gambling because he really thinks it out over a long term. Now, I found out about this late in life, and this is so exciting to me. It's using investable life insurance. I bet you did not know that your IRA, your 401k, your qualified money is a big tax bomb, right? When you take money out, you're going to be taking this money out at ordinary income. And there's a problem with this because even though it may seem like years away, or maybe it's even close, when you begin to draw from those qualified money, that money comes out, there's going to be so many things that are going to hit you at that time of life. Look, when you're 20, it's hard to imagine what it's like when you're 40, let alone when you're 40, 60, and then 80, and then 100. Each age has its own unique situation that you have to look for. But there's a solution. I call it the IRA Reboot. And what's so nice about it, it allows you to convert your qualified money into a retirement account that comes out tax-free. That's right. Now, it's tax-free vehicle with no out-of-pocket costs. So how does it work? So the real value of your account could be 20 to 40% less than you expected. And this means that the value of it is less than you expected after you're paying all those taxes. So what is a reboot? The reboot lets you contribute that qualified money into what's called investable life insurance and index universal life. And they blow up the death benefit. You could literally take money from the death benefit to pay the taxes so your full amount of money is in there. You're not writing a check for the taxes from your own pocket. It's from the death benefit. So this is what the 1% use. They use these safe places of life insurance where you never lose your principal and you could actually pay the taxes with the death benefit. It's called an IRA Reboot, and you're contributing to it over 5 to 10 years. There's some very creative things that you can do with it. I won't deep dive it in it today just to keep on track, but it gives you hope. Now, it's underwritten, so you do have to have health for it, but that's okay because we have another program that is not based on health at all. But for those that can, imagine that you can systematically contribute this and the taxes are paid internally by the participating loans from the death benefit that you don't pay back because it's your money. So the value is literally you're going to save a third to two-thirds in during this conversion, and the performance of these things are fabulous. And then you'll have guaranteed tax-free income for life. They also include long-term care, so you can take 2 to 4% of the death benefit for care. And what I teach my clients to do is stay in your own home. Don't go to a nursing home. You die faster, honestly. And I've had a lot of experience with family that really is the nightmare of my business. This is one of those nightmares, catastrophic illness. And I can stand here because I would basically be crying every time I talk about my mommy. But she came up to me and, empowered me. So I'm not always on the edge of crying because she handed me this paper and said, honey, share this with your clients. I went, and she's crying. I go, what, Mom? And I looked at it. Oh my gosh. It was a bill for chemo for 5 days. Sanford Hospital, 2010, okay, $90,000. She had chemo 5 days a month for a year. $1 million is not a lot of money if you're self-insured. And my dad was brilliant. He's a genius. He went to Caltech, and Einstein was one of his teachers one time. He did very well. He had millions. He said to me, honey, you're going to inherit $1 million. I said, Dad, and I never counted on his money. Daddy, I want you. I only wanted my parents. Never counted. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad they had it. But they went through millions of dollars. And then he came back to me and he said, honey, you might get something. And it was not a loss because they had it, and that gave me peace of mind. But you got to expect the unexpected because we're living in a crazy world. So, 3 out of 100 have fire in their homes. Here we are. right? I'm sure you all have fire insurance, and 18 out of 100 have car accidents. Everybody's got car insurance. So you're your most valuable asset. That's the point. So it essentially 7 out of 10 will end up needing care in a nursing home. It's $5,000 to $20,000 a month. You prepared? You know what's getting even more crazy? Like this nightmare thing that state that I was born in, that I live in. There are different states that are actually going to consider taxing people who don't have long-term care. Yeah, it's coming because they can't pay for it. They're broke. They're spending money on other things. So this is really important. Here's another one. Living trust. And this is how I started. You got to make sure you have this. We went through the pandemic, right? We went through all of that. How our trusts work. So a living trust is a legal document that's created to own and manage everything. And what does it do? It avoids probate, conservatorship. A lot of people have minor children. Mom and dad go out to dinner, right? Who's going to take care of the kids? We never think about those things. It's so important to be able to protect your assets. And it helps you control the distribution of your estate, minimizes the fees and taxes that are imposed upon your death, and avoids probate. What's probate? Courts. What do courts take? Attorneys. And what do attorneys take? Right, money. I heard y'all inside anyway. So the living trust is such a beautiful, it's not an end of the life document, because our good trust has a power of attorney for financial and health care. I don't care if you don't have any money. You should have a power of attorney for financial and health care, so you can have your own wishes taken care of. And the living trust helps you control your distribution, and it minimizes fees and taxes, and you learn how to get around the system, because if you don't have a living trust, you just have a will, you end up in courts, and the courts take 5 to 25% of that estate. Look, the old saying, you can't take it with you, is true. So you want to make sure that no matter where you go, that you're living your legacy and you're leaving a legacy that's 100% there for your family and your friends and your charity or whatever your give back is. Most people end up losing their money before they pass away. And this is what's crazy to me. And I don't know the stats. And I'm really trying to, give you guys as much as I can. But I've seen this over 30 plus years with average people. They end up losing their money before they pass away in a nursing home or in the court system or in the Great Recession. So you need to take time to learn about this so you can avoid probate, conservatorship, maintain control of your assets. There are a lot of famous stories out there, like Marilyn Monroe. She obviously did no planning. She had a will. They took 18 years to go through probate. She had about 1.8 million by the time they were done. It was like a million point three or something. And then look at these people. You would think that all of these famous people, right? Howard Hughes, Martin Luther King, they didn't have a living trust. Prince, Michael Jackson, they're all in probate. They're all in probate. I think John Wayne's estate was in probate. I might even still be, because he has these royalties that keep rolling over. So it doesn't mean that if you're famous, you have it all together. So there's strategies that you can use that enable you to avoid probate. Simply put, the living trust allows you to protect your assets and be able to put everything in the name of your trust. People ask me all the time, how come we haven't heard about this? Living trusts have been around since the Middle Ages, but only the rich people knew about it. And I'm one of the first people. I started in California doing workshops on what's the difference between the will and the trust. There was nobody talking about it. It was like a gray area. Everybody thought only an attorney could do a trust. And there was a little revolution. All the paralegals left being underneath an attorney, and the state bar had to create a new designation so they could make more money in fees and CE credits. So I'm an LDA. I'm a legal document assistant. I am licensed to do document preparation. I make them for banks, for people, for all kinds of businesses and things. So it isn't a new thing. And there are a number of strategies that are inside of that. The living will, you don't want to be on artificial life support, having your power of attorney for financial. If you become incapacitated, you want to make sure you have that. You go skiing, you break your leg. I want to keep my business going. Healthcare is very important. All of these things are part of the trust. Now, what I do is an estate plan review. I want to make sure that your money is safe. I want to make sure that all your assets are in the trust. Inside of a trust is a pour over will that covers all your jewelry, furnishing, and automobiles. But you don't want to put your money, your trust in money. You want to put your money in trust, right? Oliver Wendell Holmes. And so it's never a straight line to do these kinds of plannings. We're talking about asset protection. There's all kinds of things, where your monies go, long-term care, income you'll never outlive, depending on what age you are, different ways you can go. But what is safe money? Where do we go from here? Now, I know I'm pouring out a lot real fast because that's 3 decades and I'm trying to give you everything. It's just not possible to do it in this short amount of time. So it's easier to have an expert, and I've been through this jungle a lot. Create income you'll never outlive. I literally created a financial legacy program, literacy program, show you how to live your legacy. And it's really fun where I can do this personalized financial fitness strategy session. So I am inviting all of you to hop on a complimentary call. I get told a lot, you're not charging for this? And I'm not, because I feel almost sad for people that they don't understand their money. So I do this complimentary financial fitness strategy session. I ask your age, your health, and I see if you're fit for the financial literacy course, which is a 3-month course that you get one-on-one with me, or I can do a deep dive with you and actually do the whole program for you, customized for you. And then I invite you to check out this. Now there's a waiting list. It's called Create Income You'll Never Outlive. And it's got these 8 modules inside of it. I'm not going to really deep dive in each individual one. Maybe we'll come back again, Colleen, and we'll do a bit more of a deep dive. I just wanted to do a 10,000 mile view here, right? But it's got a lot of goodies so that you understand and you're empowered about your money DNA. You know, you want to know that your money is safe. And a lot of it has to do with mindset. So I have a lot of mindset money conversations in here because people are broken and it's not their fault. They just don't, they're not empowered around money. So health is wealth, wealth is health. And I like to teach you to learn the secrets of the 1%. Now, no one is, you're not born knowing how to manage money. So I have a Money 101. And then I have what's called safe and secure strategies where you can take money and create income, which I'm a proof of. I own what I sell. I've used it now for 30 years. My money has doubled and tripled. Okay. So this isn't throwing darts at the screen, right? This is a real thing and I've done it. So are you prepared for the unexpected? Keep your lifestyle the same. Take control of your life and your estate. These are all different modules where I do real big deep dives. And it's really good and empowering to wrap around this. And you know what? Get it for your family. Because you may have a great estate, but when you pass it on to the family, they're not being taught this. Most estates disappear within 9 months or 2 years. I like to teach you about tax-efficient, risk-free strategies. And as I explained earlier, 70% of adults 65 and older will end up in a nursing home. Like I said, my family is a nightmare, and I'm going through it again. I'll spare you the details because it's still pretty emotional. I haven't gotten through all of it yet. But, what if you all of a sudden end up having to take care of one of your family members, everything? Their health care, their caregivers, their mortgage, their food. We're not set up for that, right? So I'm all about shielding your money and showing you how to protect your assets from market turbulence. Look, we're in that time. The whole system is shifting. They want one world currency. CBDC is going to be coming into the world. Bank of America already has it inside of their system. A lot of banks do. They're waiting for this a black swan event or some event that's going to push it out there. So there's a lot of health and wealth things that are changing really fast. Just want you to have peace of mind. Financial peace of mind is just a click away. So you want to learn about startcreateincome.com. That's about the program. That's a sign up. But I want to invite you guys to talk to me. And I was going to put this in the chat, but I got all set up with the slides, but we'll put it in there a little bit later about how to create income you'll never outlive. And don't let uncertainty rule. And so if you want to just learn about that and see if you're a fit, you can go to startcreateincome.com. But I'm inviting you to hop on a call with me, and it's meetwithchrismiller.com, KRISmiller.com. You can also call our office. We do a lot of phones, which is 951-926-4158. Now, what I do is I ask you your age, your health, your wealth, your growth, and I'll tell you what you can. I'll literally take that, research, set up a Zoom call, give you a class on what you can qualify for, send it to you for question and answers. There's no charge for that. Okay. Now, once this financial literacy course takes, boom, goes, crazy, that may change. So get into it now. You saw the QR code, right? So that should work for you to hop on there too. But financial fitness, that's what it's about. And it's really hard for people to imagine, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. It's a way of saying, the sun's out right now. This is a time to plan. Don't wait for the floods. Get started now and learn about these things that you've never been taught. Remember, it's not just how much you earn, it's how much you keep. So your financial fitness begins with the first step, and I want you guys to take the first step to secure your financial future and still be able to invest in all the things that you want to, your real estate or your business or anything else. But I want you to have a solid foundation so that you can create income you'll never outlive. So thank you. So again, it's meetwithchrismiller.com or startcreateincome.com just to connect with me.
Awesome. I just dropped those in the chat for the attendees. So if you didn't have a chance to grab that off screen, you can grab it in the chat. And we will go ahead and open it up for questions and answers at this point. I know we've got one question in the chat, and this is from somebody who's attending today from Australia. So I'm going to invite her to come off mute if she wants to ask her question live. That is Cherie or Sherry. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, so feel free to unmute if you'd like and ask your question directly to Chris.
It's Cherie, so you did perfect the first time. Chris, so I mean, I've heard the term 401k before, but it's a little confusing, I guess. We have superannuation here, so I'm just wondering if a 401k is equal to what our superannuation is.
Because I don't know about all of your things, but what I've heard is yes, it's money that's they don't, the money you're not paying the tax on it. It's tax deferred money until you take it out. So here we have IRAs, 401ks, 403b, pension. That's all not tax money. But then they wait till you retire and your income's down, and then they tax you here at ordinary income. And there's ways that you can roll that into different products. That's here to actually defer, to have the taxes paid by the life insurance, by the death benefit of life insurance. There are other things that we show people here how to do to eliminate those taxes. And there are other safe money strategies that you can do where you can pay the taxes over a long period of time instead of paying it all at once too. I would suggest you to ask, one of your planners. If you did get into this course, you can actually translate a lot of this and say, well, what do we have here? Because most financial planners are risk planners. They want if I was, I would make more money doing stocks. I would make money holding your money. I make money moving your money. I make money investing your money. And those accounts are anywhere from 2 to 4% off your money. What I'm not a fee-based broker, right? And I get a commission if you get something from me one time, but I'm with my clients for life. And I check in with them. If they do a financial product, I check in with them every year because we only have 1 year of reallocation in the different indexes in that product. But I wanted to be there for my clients like people have been for me and be with them for life. So if you ever have a question, you can call me. Like, my husband just passed away. Now what do I do? Right? Lots of things like that you just don't know how to plan for.
So if I wanted to work with you, you would be able to learn about our things
No,
or
I don't really have that bandwidth. I would be able to teach you through the course that I have here. So if you want to, hop on startcreateincome.com, then I can give you a little preview about it. Then you would have to learn it and then find somebody there because I'm not licensed in your country. And so I wouldn't be able to give you, the names of those things, but you could learn it. And then this is what I tell people in Canada all the time. And then you say, okay, well, do you have an index universal life? And it's all explained inside of the course too.
okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. I wish you
Great
would.
question, Sherry. Thank you so much. We also have CJ that asked a question in the chat. So CJ, if you would like to come off mute, if you're okay to do that, and you're more than welcome to ask your question out loud to Chris.
Yes, my question was regarding the transferring retirement funds to a more tax-friendly bucket. How would you do that besides just doing the IUL?
Well, the other things that I use, that's a good question, CJ. So, and the other things that I use are equity index annuities. These are life insurance products that have a floor on them, and they have an accumulation and then they have an income kind. The accumulation at the time of this recording right now is 10 to almost 16%. That's how well it performs. Honestly, I don't sell hype. I think things are going to be lower. I think it'll be, more on the 10 side. So, hey, I'll take 10 anytime. Because where are you going to put your money? If you put your money in a bank, that's very volatile, number one. You pay taxes on money you're losing inside of there. They have lousy interest rates. So what choices do you have? Gamble in the stock market, right? So what I do in CJ in a financial fitness strategy session is I see what you can qualify. And they're personal questions, your age, your health, your wealth, your goals. What do you have here? What do you have there? Then I can see what you're suitable for and if it would work and how it would work for you. Because it's not a one size fits all.
So with the index annuities, you do not have to undergo underwriting, correct?
No, that's so cool. I work with people all the way till their 90s. Seriously. Some people have been really ill and they wanted their market money out of the market. And you fill out an application, roll it over, and if it's qualified, it rolls over with no taxes and it'll become an IRA annuity, right? So there's a lot of creative things that you can do. There's some people that get an annuity and then they take the 10% that comes out of that and then they fund an IUL, a life insurance product that has tax-free income and long-term care. So there's some very neat combinations, but it's individualized for each person of what works for you and what your goals are.
I guess last question now. Annuities always, you always hear about them having high fees. And then one thing my former financial advisor always said was that, the bad thing about annuities is that you're taxed on the way in and you're taxed on the way out. So they're always against annuities. But I do know some people using their retirement for more fixed income kind of, requirements that they have. So kind of what's your thought about that and kind of what would the fees be for such a product?
Yeah, well, I use a low or no fee annuity, and there's lots of annuities. There's variable annuities, there's fixed annuities, equity index annuities, lots of kinds. There are a lot of bad ones out there. I own what I sell, and I have what's called low or no fee annuities. A lot of the indexes you're not even charged for. So what I show you has everything built inside of it. There's no fee that's going to show up. You're not paying me a fee every year. So I like the equity index annuity, but not all of them. I like the number one companies. So I'm using the 8 companies that have really good products that perform really well. And so what I would do with you, CJ, is you jump on a meetwithchrismiller.com, get on my calendar, and I'll ask you special questions that pertain just to you and see what you qualify for, and I'll show it to you, teach it to you, and you'll be impressed because most of the brokers that you're talking to, they don't want to lose your money. And a lot of them bad rap, they don't like annuities because right now a lot of people are taking their money out of the market because they see, doom and gloom on the horizon and they don't want to risk their money. But there's no sales charges, there's no high fees for these, but I use a special kind. And there's kinds that they use that have it. You can lose your principal, they have big fees on them. So there are a lot of kind of annuities out there. So jump on a meet with Chris Miller, and I'll show it what it is to you.
Awesome.
Question, okay.
Yeah. Anybody else? We have a few more minutes. We've got about 10 more minutes left here with Chris. What an amazing expert we've got here in the room. So we definitely want to tap into her knowledge. Thank you for your question, CJ, as well as Cherie. Thank you for yours as well. Does anybody else have any other questions, or do you want to just come off mute and feel free to share any comments or anything that inspired you here today in our last few minutes?
I went so fast, I was trying to make lots of room.
We did have somebody that asked, Chris, if you would be willing to share the slides in addition to the recording. Are you okay to do that?
Possibly. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We will definitely, I've let everybody know that we will be giving the recording to all the attendees, and anybody that registered that wasn't in attendance as well will get the recording. So you will definitely see the slides on there when you go back through and watch the recording as well.
Yeah, they're brand new. This is my first time using this race.
Colleen and Chris, it was me who asked that, but as soon as you said that it was recorded, I don't need the slides.
Okay, good.
Because they'll be on the recording. So no,
Yeah.
keep the slides because they're your thing. So yeah.
Right. And I am serious because you could get, the Start Income Financial Literacy course has like 75 videos in there, like what's an annuity, what's a this, and it breaks down each financial thing. And the countries just have different names for the same thing because they're pretty close to their setup, right? Right, the 2 different countries. They may have different political things, but that way, if you want to be able, because it's not, this is pretty unique. Not everybody does this kind of planning. Most people that or run into, even insurance agents, don't do what I do. They do different things or similar things, but I have a proprietary system. My case designer used to run a hedge fund, and he makes these IRA reboots where they blow up the death benefit so that you literally never run out of money. It's just different than if I went into the local, hey, can I have an IRA reboot? They won't know what you're talking about. So it is a little proprietary. There's not a lot of people that are doing it yet. But honestly, I hope to share it enough with other people that do what I do that they can use the same program and help lots of people because the money is going to run out, and there's no doubt about it. And there are 3 things you want to make sure you've got covered: protection of assets from catastrophic illness, long-term care, and having the right legal documents, right? And the Great Recession. You don't want all your money in the Wall Street casino. So I can show you definitely what to do. I see a little hand raised there. Liz?
Yeah. That's Liz. Liz, feel free to come off mute and ask your question.
Oh, absolutely. So my apologies, I am driving, but I did have a question. So I was attending something this week. I can't remember what it was, but someone brought up the FDIC insurance for if you're in a bank, or the SIPC if you're in a credit union. So can you talk about that in terms of people who have wealth, maybe in an account with the FDIC insurance, and how does that work?
Yeah, great question. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's usually part of my presentation. But okay, you got money in the bank, it's under the FDIC, and you can look up, the numbers are always changing. But every $100 you have in the bank, your FDIC covers, every $100 they have about 50 cents to $5 in reserve. That's why when the economy starts to shake, the banks are the first to go. Just watch. We've been through this in the last few years. Watch. And I recommend people to have local banks, community banks, credit unions. It's a little closer to home, a little more secure. That's my opinion on that. Now, insurance companies, insurance companies are insured, and they have other companies that insure, and then there's a federal agency that comes and saves the day. Let me use an example. AIG, remember 2008? That was an insurance company, helped mess the market up. And what did the government do? They bailed them out, right? And why? Because insurance companies are conglomerates. If they go, all the other things go. They'll be the last to go, seriously, in all the financial programs that they have, because they're the safest, and they're conglomerates. Every $100 you have with an insurance company, they have 125 to 135 reserve. And they're supposed to keep that same amount of cash on reserve. So you say, hey, later for it, I want my money back with a life insurance or different annuities or different insurance products. Got to give it back to you. You might have a surrender charge if you're still in the beginning of the policy. So there's more security there. That's why, I'm a big fan of it, Liz. And I have all my retirement in annuities, equity index annuities, and an IUL that I got when I was 64, just being honest. I wished I would have gotten it at 38. These guys at 38, they put in $500 a month, and when they retire, they get anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 tax-free for life. Yeah, and that was a few years ago. So this is a way to empower the kids too, so that, because they're going to really have a hard time. But these kind of vehicles, this is like secrets of the 1%. This is what they do with all their big chunks of money, right? It's fun. It's empowering.
So much good information, Chris. I think Sherry asked another question at the very end, just to ask you to re-explain IUL.
Sure. IUL is a life insurance product. It's called Index Universal Life. So it's like a whole hybrid of what they call whole life. And they're very cool. And it isn't all of them are cool. The good companies that are A companies, A plus companies are the only ones I use. But their design, they have everything in them. They have long-term care. So if something happened to me and when I'm 100, I can take 2 to 4% of the death benefit for care in my own home. They have tax-free income. They build cash. I'm working with a real estate mastermind right here, in C-suite, and they're using the IULs to build cash to buy real estate. They borrow the money out from their money, flip a house, put the money back, and they still have the cash. And then 20 years later, they still have the tax-free income for life. So they're really fabulous. And if you're in good health, I would look into those. Ask me, hop on a call, and I'll show you what it looks like. And I'll make an illustration for you for your age and your health and what your goals are. Because that's my number one. If I could do that, if I could do my life over, I missed it. I found out at 58. I was a little mad. I'm so mad that I decided, hey, I'm going to teach millions of people about this. That's why.
We are so happy that you are doing that, Chris, as well as today. So we just have a few more minutes. So I'm just going to ask if anybody else has any other questions before we tune out today. We so appreciate everybody being here. You've been so engaging in this presentation, and this has been so wonderful, Chris. Thank you so much for this information.
Thank you. It's such a blessing to be able to share with people and there's no judgment. We just weren't taught. And I was blessed. I had a daddy that made me start saving, I don't know, single digits. So every, dollar I put in the bank, he matched my money. So I've been in this consciousness for a long time, and to be able to share it and then show people there is a way through the mess. Just go to meetwithchrismiller.com and I personalize this conversation to you. And like I said, there's not going to be a charge. And you'll see me around. I'll be doing this all over.
Awesome. Awesome. Such great information. Thank you so much, Chris, for your presentation today. Thank you for the attendees for being here. If you do have any last minute questions, I will hang out for another couple minutes, so feel free to hang back. But if not, we really appreciate everybody coming today. We hope you join us at another LeadHERship Global event. And a big thank you to our speaker and expert today, Chris Miller. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Right.